Good morning, everyone. Well, it's another build day here at the site at Las Conchas del Mar, building our beachside home here in the Philippines. So Chef Melinda's going here, and I want to show you what she's making right here. Diniguan. This is fresh pig's blood right here, and I think she done dropped some lemongrass down in there in it to start seasoning it up. What else have you put in there, Mel?
Not yet. Just that lemongrass.
Just the lemongrass so far. So that's what you see right there is the lemongrass and some of that blood that's you see how you say that, coagulating. I can't say it. It's too early. Coagulating. Anyway, so there it is, the blood with some lemongrass starting to spice it up. And over here, what you cut up was some liver right there.
Yeah, liver
and some pork fat and some fresh pork in it. Now the reason that you might say, oh, that don't look like the Diniguan we know, is a lot of times they use intestines. And Melinda wanted to make some today with the fats and with the liver instead of using the intestines.
Yeah.
I like it either way, just to be honest. I like it either way. So it's a dish that some reason I grew to love when I come to the Philippines, and that with rice is just an amazing dish. I just love the rich flavor of it. I'm sure that livers and stuff in there have a lot to do with it too. So that's what Melinda's got going on early in the morning here. She started out very early on it.
Last night I already messaged my tita that selling pork there at the town.
Yeah, where they butcher them.
Yeah, and I messaged her that I want the fresh blood.
However you want to do that. If you want to tie that form up so it's above the floor thickness, that's okay. Do it like that. So we're making our first little ad hoc form in here this morning, and they're kind of at the mercy of me showing them how I want this. So all these boards in here everywhere, they're just spacers being put in to keep the thickness of the 2 inches on the outside of that rebar, and then the form will be up against it. And as we pour the crete, we'll just lift those up and keep our 2-inch spacing. You'll see more as we get further into it here, but right now I'm asking them to lift this form up to the thickness of our floor up off the bottom. They just never deal with an ad hoc slip form like this, something that's put in kind of loose and temporary. So they're used to just building this big old form that's solid. And in this case, the pressure's pushing inward, so it's more about our spreaders than anything. You need to stop walking on the steel and start walking between. Y'all need to get some spacers, like a stone or no wood, but like some stone or something underneath that bottom in there. But no hollow block. Make sure it's stone so it's solid. The hollow block will leak water. So we're using stone underneath that grid down there. If you use anything like wood, it's going to rot out. It's going to leave a void, and then your tank's going to leak later. And we can make a weak spot in your structure as well. If you use something like a broken, what they call hollow block here, it's porous. A hollow block, just take one out, lay it down, pour water on it, and watch the water disappear. It goes right through it. So you don't want anything like that in there either. But these stones are solid. There's something you mix in cement anyway, so it'll give it support while we're pouring the concrete, and it'll seal up around it as well. Make sure that your steel's clean. You don't want mud and all on your steel. Anything like that is going to cause a void in there that can potentially be a water leak later on. So as they're working on making this next side form, it's screwed into it, didn't it? Yeah, you got to take that off and cut those screws too. So Well, I was telling them about the concrete prep, just so they'll know and have it in their mind, is we are going to pour this a little wet. We've got to work down stone and make sure there's no honeycombing anywhere in the walls. And of course, y'all can say, oh, if you had a vibrator, but I don't want a machine here for every little action for one build. And I went and looked at some vibrators up here in the city. You got to hook them to a gas or a diesel motor. The ones that was available here, they didn't have any electric. I could order electric in from abroad, but we do pretty darn good. I mean, these walls right here show it. We do really good punching this out to not get honeycomb. And then also, we're not going to pour this like 100% fast. We're going to pour the floor up into the edge of the walls, let it set just a little bit, let it lose a little bit of that water content, and while it's still bondable, we're going to move up, add a little more, but never to the point that there's a cold joint. I just try not to put too much concrete in the walls until the floor can firm just a little bit, so it don't all just pump out from underneath the side forms and go up into the floor. And that's the reason for that. Once we get on up into the walls and the floor is firmed up enough that it won't push it out and blow it out, well, then we can kind of rise on up. I want to point out, I had them to do on this, is that every corner in the bottom coming up around these corners and all has a bend and not a joint anywhere near the corners all the way around. It's that way. There's a lap over down there where it's double lap on the corners, but you don't want just steel to meet on a corner and a joint anywhere directly near. This has got two pieces meeting here. Same thing all down there on the floor as well. It bends, goes across, comes up the other side, comes up again. One continuous piece. If you're gonna make a joint, make it out in the middle and let it long lap over each other. All the way down, even into your corners, everywhere. No joints in there. And that's because you're gonna have pressure at those spots, and you need that to stay as strong as possible. Nothing that can give or slip or form a crack there over time. They did a really good job setting this. This is 12 mm steel. If it had just been casted only the concrete and not had this hollow block wall behind it, I would have set this grid up a lot tighter. But you've already got a steel grid inside the hollow block wall in concrete, and then you got this one coming in on the inside. Just costs you a little bit more money to add this steel, just a little bit. Don't cheap out, because it's going to save your mind of worrying about this thing cracking and breaking later. And the reason on here that you don't see those 2x2 braces going all the way to the ends on each end, you'll know about that here pretty soon. That's a way that the form is going to slip, and you're pretty strong right in that area there where you're going to have a lot of pressure of pushing out. Getting pregnant, bowing is right in that middle area. Good morning. Selling corn again, huh? Yeah, we can buy a little bit.
It's 100. I don't have money here. You need the money. You have 100.
How much is it?
100.
For all of that?
For one only.
For one?
We need only one though.
We can share it to the guys here. Yeah, I'll take them both. So 200, right?
Yeah.
Hold on, I'll go get you the money. Let's see that. So that's more of that sweet corn. I showed this in a video. This is my neighbor's daughter right here. All these bright faces always here. So you're cooking up all of that liver and fat and the pork meat, huh?
Yeah.
And that smells good though, man.
Yeah, I saute this one with ginger, garlic, and onion.
Ginger, garlic, and onion.
Yeah.
So I've got them finishing this wall up this side right here, extending it up. I had never finished it, and I had steel sticking up there. So I wanted to go ahead and told them, go ahead and get that last extensions up and get this thing finished on out so it can be another chapter closed around here. Plus, to give us a little bit more security with a little bit more height down through there. Straining out, adding that blood in there. So I'm showing these guys here, this is the top. You don't want this piece all the way at the top because you want to be able to put your spreader and let it rest right here. If you put it all the way at the top, you don't have nothing for it to rest on. So that one's there. But the bottom one, you want it flush down there. That'll help your form from sinking into the cement. And when you get ready to pull it, you don't have that little 3/4 inch piece of plywood binding into the cement and hard to get it out. Now, all this plywood's not just a one-use plywood. When us building here, you're building these ad hoc forms and window openings, door openings, around beams and columns, it will always get reused. Always get reused. Main thing is just keep it out of the weather, let it get dry back out, and you can get multiple uses out of this plywood, especially this. It's got this coating on it that keeps it from sticking to the concrete. But I did notice that the insects really love, especially the ants, to get into this particular plywood. So you might want to watch out about that. So if any of you wonder where I came up with on the dimensions of this tank, let me tell you, I came up with no dimensions. I didn't like sit down and say, okay, I want my tank to be this size by this size by this size. In this particular case, I had a certain area here on the property that I wanted to be able to put this tank, and it needed to fit in that area. And so that meant that the width was kind of set. So I wanted to leave a little landscaping area between the wall and the patio that's going to be in walkway that's going to be coming down this side. I didn't want it to go out too far from the house. I wanted to stay within the perimeters of where that walkway, that patio is coming down the side. And then the depth got defined by the water table. Honestly, I was planning on digging it down even a couple feet deeper, but the water table decided that for me and said, you're not going any further because you'll be standing in water trying to pour concrete. So nevertheless, this is how it came up with. And to tell you the truth, I've never broke out the calculator yet and figured the volume on it to know how many gallons is there. But it needs to just carry us through mainly on a short season. Now during rainy season, it's always going to be full and we can always use the water. During rainy season, it's going to be plentiful. So really what I need to look for the most is what can balance between the well that we have over there on the shallow well and the water source getting low, and enough backup to carry us through on this property during that time. Honestly, I think this is enough. I think it's it. So we're using this bamboo as a spreader in there. If you were somewhere in a country where you got some really good strong lumber or even some steel, you could do the same thing. I won't use the cocoa lumber for a spreader because it's real soft and it bends and it'll give in. The bamboo is actually stronger. It's light and stronger and cheap. So we've got that just to spread the end walls there. These are only for keeping the form out away from the wall, so we get our 2 inches on each side right there. Actually, I'm pouring this 5 inches thick, so it'll be 3 on one side, 2 on the other. So we're going to pour the floor in now without a whole bunch of bamboo in the way. Spreaders, we'll call them spreaders. And because you may be using a different material wherever you try this at. As you see, the lumber doesn't come all the way to the ends. It stays back. And that's so when you get ready to slip this form, this end piece right here, you will slide it around at a diagonal, and that'll loosen the form. You'll bring your sides up and you'll slip those ends back in like a wedge. Same on both sides. And then you'll put your spreaders right back in again. All right, it's showtime. Showtime. The bucket brigade has begun. The human bucket conveyor.
Showtime.
So they're almost got the bottom poured in now. Want to shine down in these corners. Make sure there's concrete down in those spots, no voids.
Tapos na ay. Ha?
Tell them they got to be sure and lift this wood up. Be untying this wood, getting it up out of that cement. You need to do that now. Hey, because if you don't lift this wood and you pull it out, it's going to leave a void. It'll leave a void. We got to get it on up out of it now. Make sure it's not in that cement. Joel, they can come way up, and you can lift them way up, not just a little. Because yeah, we can just remove those now. It's the steel's set good. Main thing when we pour those walls is to make sure you keep that steel pulled over into the middle of the concrete. Yeah, yeah. You know, make sure it don't just press to the outside. Yeah.